let's talk about Love and Marriage DC. This is season 1, episode 7. Y'all, Monique ain't a friend to nobody, especially Miss Winter. We opens with Monique. We're with Monique and Chris, and we see everybody's getting ready, preparation for Monique going to do her radio job. She seemed to be really well at it. She looked elated and happy. So I was happy that, this is something that she's always wanted to accomplish. And she was successful at it. I don't know if she's still on the air, because I don't live in DC, so I don't know if it's on there. But if she is, kudos to her. We then see Chris is the one getting the kids ready together now that the roles are switched. And Chris is finding out how challenging it can be to be a dad of 3 and be at home by yourself without any help, like a nanny or things like that. Chris was trying to brush everybody's teeth. They were all trying to eat. I thought the youngest one was cute because he kept saying me instead of I. Like, I like this, or I like cereal, or I like oatmeal, or I like pancakes, or I love pancakes. And Chris was like, no, it's I. And he said, well, me, it's not me. And he was like, well, me loves saying me. And I giggled. I ain't gonna lie. Because it was cute. It was like a snappy comeback, but it was cute because he's like, me loves saying me. What's the issue? It was cute. One thing I didn't like is the oldest one saying, like, because Chris asked them, like, how do you feel about mommy being, like, on the radio? And the oldest one was like, now her haters can listen to her every morning. And I'm like, why does a child that age, because he looks like he is no more than maybe, like, 10 or 11. Possibly, I feel like 12 is hitting it, but he gives very much, like, 10 or 11 vibes. And I was just like, why does he know what haters are? Like, are y'all having conversations around him, or is he hearing this from other people, or has he heard this, like, from y'all having conversations? Because I think we misconstrue, like, giving people that, like, we're too quick to give people the hater title. That's what I'm trying to say. Because sometimes there are people who are just hating on you for no reason other than they are envious, they're jealous, or they don't think you deserve where you're supposed to be because they haven't made it there yet. And that's it. Then the other hand of P calling someone a hater is criticisms. Sometimes some criticisms are really true and you just can't take it. And to label someone a hater when they have valid critiques and reasons to critique you should not be the reason you call them a hater. That just means you can't handle the fact that their critique hits you in the chest, and it possibly is true. But yeah, so then we see Ashley and her editor. We find out, like we heard, I think it was on episode 1, where she's releasing her book, and I think it's like Get Your Shit Together or something like that. That's the title of the book. They talk about, like, her self-confidence of, like, because they want to know if she's going to be on the cover of the book. And she was like, she didn't know, and the editor was like, well, if that's something that's uncomfortable to you, then you should do it, because your book is supposed to be about self-help, like getting out of your own way and just, being you and being proud and grateful for, the person you are. And she said, yeah, I'll think about it. We end up finding out that Ashley had been diagnosed with depression in 2017 to 2018. She said those were the hardest years of her life, or the hardest year of her life. And she said one day she just cried the whole day for 24 hours. She went to the doctor, because she was like, something's wrong. She went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, are you okay? And she was like, I'm fine. But she was like, my face is swollen and my eyes are red. And that's when they diagnosed her with depression. And she said, oftentimes when I tell people I suffer from depression or anxiety, they always say, what do you have to be depressed about? And she's like, it's not that. Like, sometimes I don't have it in me. And that's true. As someone that has anxiety, like, been diagnosed with it, like, that is true. Like, I could be doing good, and then the next day I just feel like trash, or like I'm anxious for no reason, but everything is okay, and I'm just powering my day through because I know mentally there's nothing wrong, but the way I feel, I'm jittery, and that doesn't make sense to me. And that's what it's like to be anxious. I'm thankful I don't have severe anxiety, because I know people with it who I just be like, how? Because every day for them is a struggle. So I don't like when people say that. And that's from culture. That's from the Black community. Oftentimes a lot of, like, the older generation will be like, you have all of this stuff. What do you have to be depressed about? Because from where they're standing, you have like, you're good, you're married, you got beautiful kids, you have a house, you have a husband that's faithful and has a good job, you are successful in your own right, and y'all both are a power couple. What do you really have to be depressed about? But you never know what people go through behind closed doors, so you can never tell somebody they don't have a right to feel the way that they feel. It's just not right. They bring up about Winter, and they talk about Winter basically being a block to Ashley's positivity. But I said, ma'am, you allowed her to be that block, because there was no reason for you to get in that lady face and start yelling like that. So then Monique comes home from hanging out with hanging out from at the radio. Chris is sitting on the couch with the little baby. And it was such an awkward moment. It felt like a forced moment. Like it just felt weird. It felt so weird. Like, I don't think they like each other like that. I really don't. Or they're just faking the funk and they're just good at it. But it was such an uncomfortable moment because they were trying to make small talk. And then Chris talked about how, being at home was a lot. Like, it was harder than what he thought. And Monique said, take it from somebody who's been doing this for 9 years. Oh, so the little boy is 9. He's 9. He's not even hit double digits yet. So he a tall 9-year-old. She said, take it from someone who's been doing it for 9 years as by myself. Like, you have to have a routine. You just can't get up and wing it. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell him that? But I guess she probably wanted him to fail to prove to a point to her that, like, what she's been doing is a lot harder than what he thinks, and how she's been able to keep it going and things of that nature. We then get a scene with Arena and Jamie. They're making their TikToks. It was cringy, but in a funny way. They talked about how they're happy that TikTok has been able to give them, like, spending money, like their fun money. So they were like, we could use our TikTok money to go on trips and vacations together. They end up talking about what happened with Miss Terry, about him being a bull and stuff like that. And he was like, Jamie was just like, I've been this way for the past 2 decades, and that's just how my life has been. And we end up finding out that he was raised by his father, but his father basically was abusive. Like, he was like, my dad was the type of dad, like, especially doing sports, that he would, like, knock you out, you be bleeding, and he'd be like, get up and, like, go play. Like, that's just how he was. He was just like go. Like, he was just a hard person. And I'm like, but I was happy that Jamie said, I don't mind going back to Terry, like, and we could go together. And we also found out, like, doing TikToks has opened them up. Like, a lot of people think that they're, like, stick in the muds, but that doing their TikToks has brought them closer. So I thought that was cute. But I'm glad that he said he was going to go back to Miss Terry, because he need to. Like, for him to just say it so, like, candidly, like, yeah, like, my dad was just, he knock you down, you be bleeding, and he tell you to get back up and keep pushing and go back on that field. And I'm like, that's abusive. I don't think Jamie understands that he was abused as a child, but because that's not normal. That's not normal. So then we have a scene with Ashley and Monique. So Ashley is doing a photo shoot for her book cover. She decided she was going to be on the cover. It actually was really pretty. I thought her background was going to be different, or maybe the color schemes, because it's very, like, browns, and she's a pretty lady. But I was just like, I feel like it should have been brighter, like maybe like a purple suit or like a purple or an orange or a green, something lively. I don't know. Like, when I think about books that I have in my house, the cover normally draws me if it's, like, very colorful or very, like, dark, and, like, not in the like, normally not in the middle. Like, and when I mean dark, like, like a horror cover, and then, like, but, like, she just gave plain brown, but she looked pretty. And I give her that. So Monique stops by, and her and Monique and Ashley are having a conversation. And this is what I mean when I said Monique is nobody's friend, like, especially Winter's friend, because they're sitting down and they're talking, and they bring up how, like, what the self-help book is. Monique throws slick shade at Chris, where she was like, it's talk about get up and do that shit. And Monique said, well, I'll get one for Chris. And I was like, okay, girl, chill out. And the thing about it was, like, I wouldn't have felt that way if I didn't feel like their relationship is, like, going down the drain. And I'm like, you throwing jabs at him, and that's kind of messed up when you keep constantly saying that you want your marriage and you want it to work. And I'm like, you clearly don't want it to work. And what we find out is that, like, Monique and Ashley are in the same boat, where they were so used to everybody referring to them as their partners, like significant others, like, oh, that's Quicksilver's wife, oh, that's Chris Samuel's wife, and they're both at this age are carving out what's the word, lanes of their own that they can be proud of, and of themselves and things of that nature. And Ashley was saying that Quicksilver doesn't have a 50s mentality, more like an 80s mentality. Like, he would be happy just to take care of the home, and I have like a little job on the side for like my money and stuff. But like, as long as he can do what he want to do, then I'm good to go. So then they talk about Winter, and that was brought on because Monique started talking about herself. Monique loves to talk about herself and don't know when to shut up or take a hint when people don't want to listen to her. And she was like, yeah, I'm a peacemaker. And Ashley said, are you? So then they bring up the whole Winter conversation again. And Monique basically tells on Winter about how she called DJ Quick DJ Fun Size. And Ashley thought it was funny but not creative because he is short. And then, what's her name? She called Jamie, because we didn't hear this one, but she called Jamie Red Light Special, based off of how Jamie went to sleep at the wheel, supposedly, when he was at the red light, when Arena was like sharing things about maybe there was infidelity in their relationship. And I thought that was shady of Monique. I did. And the main reason why I thought it was shady is like what Winter said when she had that sit down with Arena, where she was just kind of like, I was just venting to my friend. Me and my friend were talking. I was just venting, and I was just trying to get these things out. And I didn't think that like she would take it and run it back to y'all like this. And I just feel like Monique is doing what Giselle does. And I'm going to keep saying it. And whoever don't like it can just not like it. Because Giselle does this. And we've seen Monique do this too. Because she did it with Candace on that season where she told, like, where Monique's whole plan was to ice Candace out. But it backfired on her. So it's like, you're doing that shit to Winter. But you're trying to do it in the guise of like, I'm a peacemaker. And Winter's not like this. She's not like this. But then again, what do I know? And I'm just like, ooh, lady, ooh. We then get this really nice moment with Chris and Quick where they're going to get their feet rubbed. And Quick is basically like, I got to slow down. I got to listen to my doctor. I got to listen to Terry. I got to listen to my wife and slow down. Because if I'm not healthy, I can't enjoy the fruits of my labor. Chris is talking about how, you know, it's a lot harder than I thought, I guess, being with, like, you know, with the kids 24/7, in the sense of like, I don't have a like job to go to, or I'm not doing sports anymore. So all I am around is little people, and that's just a lot in and of itself. So he was like, I understand what she goes through now. He was like, I see Monique do things and I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, she's Superwoman. And Quick said, yeah, I felt the same way with Ashley, because Quick is dealing with the same thing with Ashley's book coming off the ground and her doing everything else. And she was just like, a lot of the things that I thought were easy aren't easy, but they made it look easy. And I always think that's a detriment to women, as well as like, you make it look so easy that people don't oftentimes realize that you need help. That's why I'm an advocate for like getting a nanny and like asking for help when you need it. Now, I'm not saying your nanny should be raising your kids, your kids, but you should have, like, your nanny should be easing things up for you. Like, if you need to go out with your girlfriends, call the babysitter, and like Chris can go out with his friends, or your boyfriend can go out with their friends. Or if you just need a moment where you have a lot of work to do and you just need someone to watch your kids while you get that work done, then call a nanny or a babysitter or whatever. This whole thinking you can do it all by yourself is dead. Like, that's a dead statement or a sentiment. So they then talk about the things going on with Quick. They start saying, Chris said, you know, I was kind of surprised that you opened up a lot, and I think that was a good thing for you. And Quick basically was like, you know, I don't cry. Like, when my mom passed away at 10 years old, I didn't cry. Like, my dad told us not to cry, so I didn't cry. He said, I oftentimes thought being vulnerable meant showing weakness. And he was like, I hate to say it, but where I'm from, you show vulnerability. That's a way for you to get taken out of this world. And he was just kind of like, I've gotten better, but I know I can do better. He also suggests that Chris also suggested that Quick should go to counseling, and Quick was like, I don't want to talk about nobody I don't know, but he was like, no, it's actually quite helpful. And then Chris talks about how he went to counseling, and then we find out that his dad was a Vietnam vet and he was abusive, probably suffering from PTSD. And how like we didn't have an outlet. Like he would do something wrong to one of my brothers, and then like we couldn't fight back or have no say so. So like I mirror that sometimes in my marriage, where I don't know if I'm leading my family correctly because I didn't have a good example. But he said going to counseling really helped, and he's like, and I liked how Chris was like, as Black people, we always say, I don't want to talk to nobody I don't know. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Like, there's nothing really wrong with me. And he was like, all of that stuff weighs on you and then you just explode. So it's good to have somebody there that's going to help you talk through your emotions. And that's important. That's important. That's way important. Like therapy and counseling, like life coaches, therapy and all of that stuff, that's important. Like that to me is an essential job because someone needs to talk. You need someone to talk to you. Or not talk, just listen to you when you speak, especially if you're carrying around so much baggage. You need someone to help you traverse that and like comb your way through it to be a better person for your family and more so for yourself than your family. Because if you're good, your family's good. So I thought that was really nice of Chris to like encourage him to go. So Crystal, like, so the next thing dang, I did that pretty quick, y'all. I did that pretty quick. We have a scene with Arena and Ashley. I might have spoke too soon. Where Arena wants to get a skinny BBL. Y'all, I did not know there were different versions of BBLs. There are so many. I follow these two Twitter accounts on Twitter. And they're cosmetic things run by Black women. When I tell you they be giving you the tea, and I guess they're also like a part of the industry. I've learned so much about like plastic surgery as it pertains to like the different things that you can do. I did not know there's like 4 or 5 different BBLs. And now when I see people with BBLs, I be like, oh, so you got that one. Okay. Like I love that. I love being able to know that stuff. But she's going to get a skinny BBL for like her booty and her hips. And the thing is, Arena don't really have no fat. Arena's body is great for her age. But the doctor was like, you have fat, a little bit of fat, but like I can't promise you like drastic results that you're looking for. Basically, it seems like Arena is really obsessed with perfectionism, and it seems like this booty and this hips is what she's looking for, to be like, hey, I got the perfect shape and everything, even though she looks perfect as it is. And she even alluded to the fact that she does look at people online and be like, ooh, I like that about her. I like this about her. Da, da, da. And like Ashley said in her confessional, what's online is people showing the best versions of themselves, as well as it's filters and edits. Like it's not real. So you trying to obtain that is not realistic. And the crazy thing is like, I don't think people get it. You trying to obtain something that's not real, you always end up making yourself look unreal. Like people who want to look like filters or who want to look like, you can type in all the people that want to look like Barbie. They look fake. They look sickly and they look fake, and it is scary. It is scary. And it's just kind of like, why? But that's also body dysmorphia and perfectionism. Like, people aren't meant to be perfect. Like, there is a perfect version of yourself, but that comes with like self-love and understanding that like things are going to change as you get older. So, and that's with like weight gain, getting injured and stuff like that, and when I say injured, it's like things can happen. Like you could become disabled, you could get sick. Like we don't know none of us know what our futures hold. So it's like trying to obtain something that is like unrealistic always ends horribly for people. So they have a sit down because Ashley went with Arena to the BBL consultation, and Ashley lets Arena know about what Winter said. And we find out that Arena basically feels like there's something mentally wrong with Winter. She was like, she was in 2 relationships that have the potential to F up her mind, as well as that haircut. And that haircut is so ugly on Winter. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That haircut is so ugly on her. That haircut is so ugly on her. Like, I don't understand why. I don't understand why. I just think like this whole situation could have been I thought they let go of this situation, but Monique is still talking about it. And Ashley gonna run her mouth to Arena. So Ashley tells Arena about the nicknames that Winter had gave Jamie and Quick. And when they got to Jamie, when Ashley got to Jamie, she was like, she called him Red Light Special. Arena said she need to shut up. Like, in the way she said it, that DC accent came out. I said, ooh, Winter, you gonna get beat up. You gonna get beat. Somebody gonna smack you. You better chill out. You better chill out. So Arena says she want to meet up with Winter. So she meets up with Winter. Winter basically feels like, okay, Monique is either jet lagged because she keeps talking about this. Her and Monique have been friends for 15 years, as well as she's like, I'm just a sarcastic person. And then Winter is like, I don't have any tea on Jamie. She was just like, I was just talking to her. And I said, I think the way I was talking to her or venting to her about the situation, she made it seem like it was a back and forth, and there was no back and forth between us. And that's what I explained to her. And so Arena is just kind of like what Ashley told me about what you said about our husband. And I give Winter credit. She said I did say like DJ Fun Size and Red Light Special, but it was like a joke. Like it wasn't meant to like be rude. And Arena's like, that's not funny. I said, oh, like, and she was like, that is not funny. And she said, I told you something in confidence and you basically made a joke about it. And then Winter saying, well, you didn't say, Winter, please don't share this. And I'm looking at Winter like, what are you talking about, sis? Like, if you're actually having a conversation with someone and it gets to that level where they're being intimate and sharing certain details about themselves, like, you would know not to share that. The one thing I didn't agree with Arena, where Arena was like, she could have been talking to Monique or even her sister. Don't share my business. Girl, I tell my sister everything. So just know, you tell Leah your business, my sister probably gonna know about it. Like, what are you talking about? But my sister not messy, so it's whatever. But I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, people tell their family things. So I was just like, Arena, that doesn't make sense. Because even you would tell your friends. Like, you and Ashley have had conversations about Winter and about the things you shared with Winter and Winter has shared with you. So what are you talking about? You're just mad because she made a joke about it. And so I was just like, yeah, okay. So then the episode ends with Arena basically saying, do you think you're mentally effed up from your relationships? And she leaned back in the chair. And Winter's face is like, what? And I said, maybe. The next episode look like it's gonna be interesting because they are Kevin popping up, and they also bringing Kevin on that retreat, which that's why I feel like Monique is not a friend to not a friend to Winter, more so. I won't say to anyone, but she's not a friend with anyone. And she really, like, her social climate antics kind of came out, or her social climate spirit, because when she went up to meet with Ashley, Monique was like, see, this is what I'm talking about, being successful. And then, we reach back and we pull each other up. I'm not pulling everybody up. And you should be able to pull yourself up because we on the same platform. But I said, okay, Monique. But them inviting Kevin to this, as well as Winter, knowing that they're not in a good place, I would think that's shiesty. Especially if Winter is saying y'all been cool with each other for 15 years. So that would make me look at you funny. But we seen her do this before to people. But this is me. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. And drop down in the comments below. Deuces.